Perfect. Great job, Eric. And you know, trying to find those comps, trying to find values. In fact, this happened on my own house here this week. If you see me sitting in the corner, that's because my friend Cari is here, our appraiser, who's going to be working with us this morning, is here. But I didn't know how to pull comps on my house. I mean, my house is kind of unique. It has a huge garage. It's sitting on a canyon. It's got 15 miles of hiking trails, etc. Um, and I didn't really know how to pull comps, and so I called Carrie up, and I've used Carrie for many years. She does desk appraisals, and those are pretty cheap too, aren't they?
Yeah, they're like $75.
Yeah, $75. So when it gets really tough and I can't do it, I call Carrie up and cheat. She's my favorite cheat. Is I don't know, that didn't kind of come the way that I wanted to, but it works really good because I'm not having to worry about being as accurate because there's things that I don't know. When I first came into the business in Utah, I was doing a whole bunch of flips up along 21st South and between 18th and 22nd East. And one of the things that I didn't know at the time is if you're on the south side of the street, your house was worth $10,000 to $15,000 more because it got picked up by the country club, in that area of comps versus the north side of the street there. And so one of my friends is like, my houses are selling. He was on the other side. He was on the north side. I was on the south side. He said, my houses are selling for, less than yours are. And I can remember looking at it and realizing if you were on the right side of the street, your house went up $10,000 or $15,000 versus, not being there. So today we are going to have, let's see. All right. Before we start, you should have all got an email from me. I sent out 400 of them from Eric and I that had the cheat sheet, we'll call it, to help you use your CMA better. And it actually, I think, walks you right through the process, doesn't it, Carrie? Yeah. So it walks you right through the process here. I'm going to let Carrie talk a little bit about herself. We go back quite a ways, and my agents have used her. Kim's, and her great friends and other ones. Do you want to just tell us, lean in here a little bit and tell us about if you want to just come this way, there we go. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I live here in the Valley. I'm in West Valley City. I've been appraising for about 30 years. I'm a certified residential appraiser. And I work with an affiliate of appraisers called Bedrock Appraisal. But we are all independent. I do especially for real estate agents, I have a product that's called a desktop appraisal, where basically you give me the information that you know on the subject. I take a lot of information, maybe from the county records. You share with me as much as you know about the property, and I do generate an appraisal, but just sitting at my desk. I don't actually go out and see the property unless you want to send pictures or whatever, and take the measurements, usually from county records. But if you have better, then I do those. But for $75, and I can usually turn them pretty quick because I'm not having to make an appointment to get into the house and go see everything and take pictures. So I've done a lot of those for Randall and for his agents, and I just want to thank Randall. He's been a great friend over the years and sent me a lot of business. I really, really appreciate that. So
very helpful for us, flipping houses as well.
Yeah, because I can sometimes do as is appraisals so that you can kind of get an idea. If you're seeing a house that's pretty rough, what is a good price for me to go in and buy that at? And then I can do an as repaired value so you can see how much you could sell it for and kind of what your profit margin would be. So that's good. I also, of course, do full appraisals. I do tax appeal appraisals. I can do those as desktops. Those work really well as a desktop, where you can take those back to the county assessors and say, hey, think you're overcharging me. And I do divorce appraisals for people. So kind
We
of,
don't like those as much.
no, no, they're always hard, but I hope of an objective job, and I tell my people who come for divorces, I'm going to be objective. I'm giving you an arm's length value. I'm not advocating for you, going to make it low because you need it low or high because you need it high.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to give you a solid value. You could put this house on the market and sell it for that, hopefully tomorrow. But yeah.
Thank you. And so I would always suggest taking some pictures and sending them to Cari as well. You know, so when I send her a desktop appraisal or my agents or we're doing a flip, I take some of the inside so she knows what it's like. And then I go out, stand in front of the house. I take a picture of the house, and then I look up and down the street, just to, you know, a picture up and down the street, which
Yeah.
kind of makes it a little bit easier. And
Yeah, the more I can see the house, it's almost as good as walking through it.
yeah.
So
So it's great. So we have this CMA tool, and you know, Kim, if you want to unmute yourself here, I'll you know, Kim's part of the reason that we're doing this today, but she can't unmute.
oh,
Okay, so it's usually a little
Oh,
micro.
am I there? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can
Oh,
hear you.
good. Okay. I'm
So
a technological idiot.
that's all right. So Kim was working on, you know, pulling some comps this last week, and you worked with Cari, if I remember right, and
Mhm.
we're able to learn how to use the CMA tool very effectively.
Yes, it's wonderful. She's amazing. For everyone out there, use her services. She has saved me so many times when I put in offers and things, knowing what the property's worth. So yeah. Anyway, little plug for Cari there, but she is amazing.
All right, so I'm going to share the screen and we're going to get right into it here. And Cari's going to show us how to do it. So if you can't ever, it looks like you can't see the screen that we're talking about, please let me know.
yeah,
So we should see the MLS here.
yeah, just
And,
the home screen of the MLS.
So on the home screen of the MLS there, guys. And Cari's going to walk me through how to, you know, how I would do this.
Okay, so I want to thank Kim. We practiced on her house to do a sample CMA. And so she's given me permission to let me use that CMA information.
Perfect.
So a couple of things before we get going. I want to explain to you because I have found that few agents understand what we appraisers call GLA. Now, this is something that's on every appraisal form, but it's the difference between above ground square footage and below ground square footage. I think on the CMA, they call it GL, is everything that's above the ground.
Gross living.
And it's level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. So anything that literally, it has to be 100% above the ground to be considered. GLA is gross living area or gross living, but that's it. And then basement is anything that's even a foot below ground is considered a basement. And you value square footage that's above ground differently than you value square footage that is below the ground. So basements and gross living area are two different things. And this is one thing that the CMA can really help you with that can make a big difference in getting an accurate value when you perform a CMA. So with that, we'll go ahead. And I don't know if you have that sheet to look at.
Everybody should have it in their email. If you don't, let us know in the chat.
If
Eric will
not,
send it.
I can even hold it up like this as we talk about different things. But this is, I'm not going to teach you too much about how to find comparable sales. I think that's a whole, if you want me to come back, I would be glad to come and give some guidelines of how to find good comparable sales. And Kim and I did do that, but then we went on to, so she knew how to use the CMA tool that you all have. So the top part here It gives a conversion chart to, for your acreage or your site area. Because the CMA has to have it in square footage or it doesn't work. If you put in like Kim's property was 0.13 acre, you get a really weird adjustment all across. So you have to convert each one and you'll be seeing that. The second part is the quality and the adjustments I kind of use for quality and locations, from average to good to very good to excellent. The third part is just some notes I put in on the adjustments so you can understand them. And then I have a little table of some common amenities that you run into fairly frequently in homes, and how much I kind of apply for a market value for those. So on the right side is how to actually go through this.
There. Hey, Usha, can you? We got a lot going on here. We go. Okay, and then you have the code for downstairs? Yeah, 2580 pound. It's on the door. Just 2580 pound. 80 pound. Okay.
Okay,
Sorry. And there,
that's okay.
we got the home inspector here because my house is being inspected today. So, okay.
Oh, so on the right side, I have literally done a very step-by-step way to do that CMA template. So that you don't have to take a ton of notes during this. You can just kind of watch and we will go through it. So let's do that right now. Let's go to the MLS,
Okay.
the home screen.
Me.
I have chosen the comps for Kim's house. So we're going to go up to search on the right there and MLS number.
Okay.
We're going to put in these numbers.
Okay.
2006165.
Okay.
One,
Just a second. I have
Oh,
the
okay.
number, right?
yeah,
Okay.
1899190,
Okay.
1988362,
Okay.
1994200.
Okay.
Okay, now we're going to view the results. We're going to select all of those.
Okay.
And this time we're going to, where it says view report, we're going to go up and select the CMA.
Okay. And right there, see.
Yes, CMA report.
Okay.
And you see it's called in those four. There are four. If you go down to the bottom of the screen, you can slide that slide rule and you can see that fourth comp.
Okay.
So there's four comparables there. Now you can see that this is very, very limited information here right now. We're going to expand that. So what we're going to do is go down and click on this add adjustment factor.
Okay.
And I've kind of grouped them together on that sheet I gave you, so that all the different elements are kind of put into a good order. One of the most important things is acreage. So I've kind of put these in
So-
priority order. So we're going to click acreage. So acres. Second one is year built.
Okay. Down there on the bottom.
Right. And then we're going to select level 1.
Okay. And you guys are seeing this, right?
You can all see this.
Nod your head. Okay, good.
Okay, level 1, then level 2. We're going to put in all 4 of those levels.
Okay.
Level 2,
Two,
level 3, level 4. Then we're going to go to the basement
Okay.
and do basement 1,
Okay.
basement 2, and basement 3.
Okay.
Okay, do we have basement? Oh, we got basement finished there.
So get rid of that.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how to reorder those ever, which is kind of hard. Let's do basement 3. Let's get rid of that one. So we
Okay.
have basement 2 where we want it,
All right.
and then put basement 3 so that, you know, they make sense.
Oh, actually, I'm not. There we go, right there.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
And then we want basement percent finished.
Okay,
Then we want full bath.
okay, and let's see here.
Maybe at the bottom. There we go. It's right above
Oh,
garage.
right there. Okay, thank you.
And then 3/4 baths
Okay,
and a half bath,
okay,
garage, carport.
okay,
And now we're going to create a couple of custom factors. If you have something that you want to measure in your analysis, you can create a line for it. And you go down to this create custom factor,
okay.
and we're going to add condition.
So just put add right here, condition.
Yeah,
COND. Okay, oh, did
and
you get-
add.
all right,
And it should hopefully be at the bottom of our little list. There it is.
perfect.
We're going to create another one. Create custom factor. This is amenities.
Okay,
And we're going to add that.
I'm glad I get to go through and be the one doing this because it shows me how to do it. I
Yeah,
get to learn
exactly.
too.
And then the other thing, let's see, we have a GL area.
Okay,
And the very last one, somewhere it should have it, is that dollar sold.
we don't need the bedrooms. We're good.
Don't need bedrooms.
Okay.
But there should be a dollar sold somewhere.
Sold.
Maybe
concessions.
it will put it in automatically. I don't know.
Okay,
Because that's where you get that price per square foot that I know a lot of agents use. And I wanted to do a demonstration with that. It's good to have it there, but it's one element. It's not sometimes the strongest element, but I don't know where it is.
okay,
Let's see how it does. Let's just do done now.
okay,
And now you can see that you have all these areas to put in values. Just scroll all the way down there so they
Okay.
can see it. Yeah, that one isn't in there. Darn it.
okay.
We can add, let's do another add adjustment
Add
factor
adjustment
to
factor.
see if it pops up.
Okay,
That
Is
is
it the
so,
total square foot one?
yes. Well, it might be total square. Let's try that one
okay.
and see if it,
Can we
okay.
add it.
And then do done.
All right.
And down at the bottom, no,
No, this gives the square footage from one
it's
side to
just that
another.
GL again. I don't know. Oh, that's the living, the gross living area and the basement added together, which is okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But usually it gives you, I don't know, mine gives me that it has a little dollar sign in front of it with a slash and sold per square foot, which is where you get the cost per square foot that usually shows up.
Okay.
But we'll go on and if we get it, that'll be great. Now, what we want to do, we're gonna go to, I have to read my notes here. Let's see. Okay. Let's go back to the add adjustment factor, just,
Okay,
okay. Let's see, where's all of our,
so they were on the side.
They
but
were.
Once we put done, it threw them in
okay,
there.
okay, so now we're there. Let's go just done again.
Okay.
All right. So right now, we don't have a subject in here yet, and we don't want one yet. Scroll back up to the top. There we
Okay.
go. We are going to add the values.
Okay,
Ah. See, this is, Let's go back to that other screen. I'm sorry to do this. I should have done it before
Right
we
here?
got, yeah.
okay,
Somehow you can save this.
okay.
Are all of our factors up above?
Yeah, it's not, I think it's, they're all in that file. So if I click done, it goes back and then it,
Okay, just
Got
do
the-
that and then we'll just go ahead
okay.
and go back up to the top.
And so you can do save CMA here, but.
Yeah,
it's-
but you can actually save, oh, there we go, adjustments. Do select, And we're going to create new.
Okay.
Oh,
so
there we
right
go.
here, there
Create
we go.
new.
Right.
Oh, here's where we go. Oh my gosh, we have to do it again. So,
Okay.
all right, we have
There's
to
a
add.
sold per square foot right there.
Right, so we're gonna do that, but we're gonna literally do this list quickly again. So
Okay.
acres,
Okay.
and then we want the year built,
Okay. So we're gonna come down and do that again. You're built. Okay.
level 1, 2, 3, and 4.
2, level 3, level 4. Okay.
Then basement 1, 2, and 3.
All right. Basement 1, basement 2. Oh, that's basement. Oh, let me do that. Basement 2, and then basement 3. Okay.
And then basement percent finished,
Okay.
full bath, 3/4 bath, and half bath,
3/4 and half baths. Okay.
garage,
Okay.
carport. And then we're gonna create those custom factors, and they may be down at the bottom. No, they
Okay.
aren't. So
Okay.
we're gonna create, and we're gonna do condition
Okay.
and amenities.
Okay. And amenities. Okay.
Great.
And
Save.
then so
All right, now
let
let's,
me add condition and add amenities
right,
over to it. So-
yes.
And then what about
And then
the,
that, we want the GL area
okay.
and the dollar sold square foot.
Okay, not bedroom sold concessions or anything, just
Yeah, let's just do that one.
okay.
If you want those other ones, you're certainly welcome.
Okay.
I find with bedrooms, there is not really much of a market difference. I've done studies, and 2 and 3 bedrooms, I don't know whether they have bedrooms on the main level or upstairs or down. I haven't found a real difference, so I seldom adjust for them.
Okay.
So that's why I haven't put those in. Now we want to save this,
Okay.
and we're going to call it default.
Okay.
This has no adjustments in it. It's just your list of things.
So you want to set it as a default template?
Maybe, maybe not. Let's just save it.
Okay.
Now we're actually going to go in and put in values here, and I'm going to do it for an average quality house in a pretty standard neighborhood, nothing remarkable about it.
Okay.
So go up to acres, and in that value, we're going
Okay.
to put $3 per square foot is
Okay.
basically.
Just like 3
Yep.
itself. Okay.
For the year built, I'm doing 1,000. That means for every year difference, it will
Okay.
adjust $1,000.
And this is all on your spreadsheet, your
It's all on that sheet. I have, under our little grid, I have average, good, very good, and excellent.
okay. So it's just like if you look on the sheet
Yeah,
that we
right
sent
down
out,
there,
you
right
can see
there.
it right down here. So
Yeah,
average, good, very good, and excellent. Suggested adjustments by location and quality of home.
right. Okay.
Okay.
And then for all the L1, L2, L3, and L4, you'd put in the same value. So for an average quality home, 50 is kind of a standard.
Okay.
And I have a lot of things I have to always tell the banks, how did you come up with that number? And I have all the support for it if we ever want to learn that.
Okay.
Hopefully you don't have to. That's why I've given you sort of some kind of standard adjustments.
Okay.
For the basements, we're going to go 10
Okay.
for all of them, except for the basement percent square finished.
Okay.
Now this cost per square foot, this $10 is for unfinished basement. It's just for like if you had a totally unfinished basement.
Okay.
Then when we come to basement percent square footage, obviously that costs more per square foot. So I'm going to put in a 20 there.
Okay.
So that's $20 a square foot in
Okay.
addition to the 10.
Okay.
Then for a full bath, we're giving that a $5,000 value.
Okay.
Full bath means it has a tub. A 3/4 bath means it has a shower. In appraising world, as long as it has bathing facilities, we call it a full bath. But
Okay.
since the MLS breaks it down, we're going to put 5,000 in that 3/4 bath.
So 5,000 for
Yeah.
both. 5,000 for full and 5,000.
Right. It doesn't seem to matter a lot whether there's a shower bath.
Okay,
Then I'm gonna just do 2,500, which is half the cost for a half bath. Garage capacity, $10,000, and this is per stall.
okay,
Carport is about 2,000. Okay, the condition is a little strange. I'm just gonna put in 15,000, and we'll talk about this in a little bit.
okay,
And then the amenities, we're gonna put in 1,000.
okay,
Now we want to go back up to the top, and we're going to save as,
okay,
and this time we're gonna call that average quality.
okay,
And this is the one I set as my default template because so many of the houses you do are that.
so I'll set it as a default template.
Yeah.
Okay,
And then that's the one that will pop up unless you select something else. Now, if we wanted to take the time, I don't want to right now, we could then go down and put the good quality from my sheet, put the values in for good quality, and then we would save as good quality. And then you have a second template, do a little drop down next to that average quality. The
right
drop
here.
down. Yeah, and you can see here's default and average quality. So if you put in the good quality adjustments next and saved it, then you would have that option. Then you would put very good quality, same thing, and then an excellent quality. So you're going to make 4 templates that you can then go in and quickly select. The adjustments are there ready for you to create a CMA. So now we can go back to the report.
Average, okay, and so back to report.
Uh-huh. And now we're going to put in the subject property. So we want to populate the subject data. They're up on the left-hand side.
Okay,
And you can do this if there's an MLS listing or a tax ID, or you can do it manually if I wanted to go in and actually put in all the information. But we're going to go with tax ID because there was no listing on Kim's house.
okay,
And the tax ID is, and I wrote it down somewhere. It's 27, where is, oh, no. I know, I look, oh, here it is.
okay,
2702-479-004.
okay,
And we're gonna do go. Take a minute to populate.
okay. So I don't have to hit it again, it'll just do its thing, I'm guessing.
Probably you can just X
Yeah,
out of this.
yeah,
There we
there we
go.
go.
There it
Okay.
is. Okay, so let's go down and look at Kim's house. Now, right here, it says 130 for her acres, which is wrong. She has a 0.13. Oh, now you want to go to edit comp mode. It's way to the left in that gray box.
Okay, right here,
And now you can change anything you want. If you know something is wrong with one of those comps or with your subject, you can go in and change this, which is really great.
so I put 0.13.
We'll go to that next. Let's do Kim's square footage. We're going to go to L1 and
Okay,
her above ground square footage is 1,687.
okay,
And then in her basement level 1, she has again 1,687.
okay,
Then she has 90% basement finish.
okay,
So 90, she has 3 baths because she has 2 upstairs and 1 in the basement. So we're going to do 3 full baths.
okay,
So this one with the baths, you add together whatever the baths are to get a total bath. Garage, she has a 2-car garage, so we're
Yeah.
going to put 2. No carport. Her condition, she has, her house has not been recently remodeled or upgraded, so we're just gonna, for right now, give it a 3, and I will explain that as we go.
okay.
0 amenities, so we're not gonna add that.
So I got a question. It says, Carrie, where did you come up with the values for each field you're
Oh, you're using for the adjustment. So
Yeah.
let's go up and talk about that. Of course, I had Kim with me so she could tell me about her house.
Yeah,
Go down a little bit. So the acres I found on the county records, 0.13 acre.
talk about 0.13 there.
No.
All right.
Because we're gonna change that
Okay,
in
130.
just a second.
Okay,
It was built in 1986, again from county records. Her square footage, again, county records told me that. Her basement, county records told me the total square foot. And then Kim told me how much of her basement was finished. And then, oh, go
If
ahead.
I can interject, I think the question is, how did you come up with those numbers that you're assigning to it? Not
Oh,
the
those
numbers that you
adjusted-
put in the bill.
Adjusted
Yeah,
values?
yes.
Many, many years of appraisal experience. And again, I can show you or talk to you about the support of how we use those numbers. This is I would call it a little bit of a rough number. It could go anywhere from like the cost per square foot of the house could be between 40 and 60, depending on the quality and different things. And it gets a little messy. So these are
Yeah,
kind
well,
of, I would call a middle of the road value for average quality homes. Now, if you look at the list for a good quality home, those go up. And very good, those go up even more because it costs a lot more to build. And people are paying more for very good quality homes. So those adjustments are all going to go up and up and up. To the excellent quality, you'll see that for acreage, I have $10 a square foot for differences. I have $5,000 for year differences. I have $100 per square foot for gross living area. So they go up, and that's why I gave you a table so that as you walk into a house, you go, wow, this is really a fancy house. They have a lot of cool stuff. It's in a,
so it gives you some templates for average, better than average and excellent.
Yeah.
Monica, did you have your hand up?
Yes, I have a quick question
Yeah.
for her. So how often do you, well, I guess a better way of asking it is how long are these numbers good for? Do you readjust at the beginning of each calendar year? Do you adjust when there's, changes in, I don't know, president?
as
Special election?
yeah,
Like,
as
I
market
don't know.
value goes up, like in the old days, like when I was kind of starting, and it was, let's say, the late 90s, early 2000, my cost per square foot for gross living area was maybe $25 to $30 a square foot.
Right.
Well, as the house prices have gone up, that has increased. And
Of course.
some of my fellow appraisers in my company think that $50 a square foot is too low. They don't go any lower than maybe 60, and they'll go up to $150 a square foot. So
Yeah.
it's kind of that. So it's a little bit of a, like I
Art.
said, an art. I thought these were a nice median values that I've given you here. But again, you can play with those a little bit. If you think that's a little low or a little high, sometimes I go into an area where the homes are old and pretty
Dated.
cheap quality. Well,
Yeah.
cheap quality.
Yeah,
I go down to 40
yeah.
or 35 even, because people aren't going to pay that much extra for extra square footage.
One thing
I
that's
do
nice,
have one other question though.
Carrie
Oh.
will help you if you like.
Yeah.
You've got the contact
Yeah.
information.
Yeah, call me with any questions if you have some individual
Okay.
questions and you just want to have a discussion with me.
Yeah. I do have one other question though. On the GLA, do you find when you're pulling county records, do you find that they are recording only what's above ground? Do you find that the county records will reflect, I guess, if the home has a basement or not? What's your experience there?
It depends on the county sometimes. Some counties are more detailed than others, especially for percent finished. So
Mine was off by a couple 100 feet.
Yeah, yeah. Randall's, when I did his house was listed at like 1,400 and it was actually 1,700.
Yeah.
So, that's why it's good if you have measurements that are a little more accurate. Sometimes old appraisals, if they have an old appraisal, it will be more accurate than the county records. I found sometimes on county records, they haven't included a second level, which makes a humongo difference. So that's one thing is as you know the houses because you've walked through with your clients or you're listing them, you can maybe have a better feel of what the subject is than the county records. For Kim, she didn't really know, so that's what we went with.
And we can update this sheet. We can get Cari to help us update it again, next year when things change. Like
Yeah,
if things
yeah.
change, it's gonna be pretty darn close.
Like I said, this is a good kind of middle of the road value that will get you pretty accurate value in the end.
We found
It's-
it's been very accurate.
It,
Yeah.
it's amazing that if I go $45 a square foot or $55, that bottom number is not greatly impacted. So you still get a pretty tight range of values.
Okay.
Okay, so now we have that. We are gonna go line by line.
Okay,
So an acreage, when she's 0.13, if you look at your little chart on your list,
okay.
it's 5,663 square feet.
So five,
5,663.
let's see. 5, 3, okay.
Now we're gonna go to that comp one. The 0.23 acres is 10,019.
So right here,
Uh-huh,
1,019, okay,
and then hit enter.
right. There.
Now look what it did to the adjustment. All of a sudden, it changed that weird 169
Yeah,
to a reasonable number.
yeah,
Kim's site, her lot is half the size of this particular one, so it's a bigger adjustment. Okay, so 0.18 is 7841
okay.
and hit enter.
So just changing to square.
Yes, you
yeah,
can see all of a sudden you're getting a very nice
realistic
adjustment.
values.
6098. And you can see that this makes a big difference on lot size on the value of your property. 19 is
Oh.
8276
8276, okay.
and enter.
Okay,
For year built, we don't have to change anything because they have all the year builts and they've added $1,000 per year.
okay.
So you can see that if you have a newer home, $14,000 off of a value or off of a sales price is kind of a chunk. So,
Yeah,
all right. The square footage, it automatically calculated that. You don't have to change anything. The basement, it didn't change that.
Okay.
You don't have to play with that at all.
Yeah.
The 90% square footage, we have one that's 80%, 175, 65. So it'll add that finished square footage adjustment to bring that. Those are all going up because they have smaller basements and less square footage. The full bath, let's look at that line, is interesting. She had 3. We don't have to change anything, but we're just gonna slide over.
okay.
Okay, there's a 3 and a 2 and a 2. And the very last one has 1 in that 3/4 bath. So it's 3 altogether. So you can see there's a $5,000 for the 2 baths and a -5 for the 1. So they cancel each other out.
Got it.
So it's the same for 3 baths, basically.
Okay.
And then one of them has the half bath. Garage is pretty straightforward. I think they all had 2-car garages.
Yeah. I went with 3.
None had a carport.
Yeah,
Okay, let's talk about condition. Condition is a really important adjustment that makes a huge difference in the value of a home. I put 3 as an average middle of the road condition. Now, let's see. which one is the first one up there? So 96, I'll look at my sheet here. 9642. So it had some upgrades. It had some new carpet and paint. But it didn't have a new kitchen. It didn't have a new bath. So it's not as good. So we're going to go down to that condition. And I'm going to give that a 3.5.
Okay, so just a little bit better than,
Yeah, a little bit better than the subject.
okay,
Then the next one, again, we have to slide up so I can see which
okay,
one
the
it
next
is.
one is,
The homecoming. Okay,
yeah.
that one I believe had some new carpet and paint and a new kitchen.
okay,
So we're gonna give that a 4. Now
Okay.
you could decide that that kitchen is even better and you could give a little more and then hit the enter button. And
Okay.
then you can see all of a sudden it's got a better value than the other.
okay,
Okay, this burgundy had new carpet, new paint, new kitchen, new baths. I mean, it really had been remodeled throughout. So we're going to give that one a 5.
okay,
And again, you can look at that and say, oh gosh, how much money did it take to remodel that? Maybe it's 35. So you might want to go up to a 4.2 or a 5.2. Let's just do that for fun.
5.2,
This is a little bit subjective,
okay,
and then hit enter.
right there.
And all of a sudden, you know, you're getting a few more $1,000. So you can kind of decide. Then the last one
Was
the 1327.
yeah,
And that one is in average
an
condition. So
average
just
of
a 3.
So just 3 for average, okay,
Mhm. Okay.
okay,
So all of a sudden, as you look at all these, if you look at the bottom numbers, all of a sudden they're pulling in a lot tighter. Slide back to the very first one. So you're looking at the high of 653, a low of 605. So that's good. Okay, let's talk about amenities. So I kind of look at amenities. Okay, you go into a house and like Randall's here, his has a second kitchen and maybe it has a shed. Maybe it has what were some of the other ones of those alarm systems, solar panels. You know, we're running into solar panels more. And solar panels is again subjective. And I think I put, finding it's about a third of the cost to construct. It's about 30,000, 25 to $30,000 for a typical home. So I'm looking at anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000. You can look at the quality of a home. People in average little neighborhoods who are worried about their final house payments aren't going to pay a ton of money for that solar.
right,
They would rather go with the home down the street without solar if their house payment is still, you know, more affordable. So I go lower for like solar panels on an average quality house than I would on a bigger, high quality home where they've spent a lot more money on their solar. But anyway, so I'm looking at that. So a second kitchen on my list, I give it a $10,000 value, and a shed maybe 20,000 or 2,000. So I'm just going to put 12.
okay, okay.
It's increments of that 1,000. So
Okay.
Kim doesn't have that, so.
Sorry.
She has none. So,
Okay,
but there is one of those houses that does. Let's see, which one is it?
Okay.
It's the 1327.
1327 is over to the right, I think. That's the one on the far right, right
Oh,
here.
Carrie?
Yes.
Mine does have a shed in the back, a tough shed.
Oh, okay. So I would give a 1 for her then.
Okay,
And
Can you
then
mute me
10
now?
and 12 up
Thank
there,
you.
Oh, yeah,
and
did
12
we-
for the
did
one,
we
the
or
one.
10. It didn't actually have a shed. I was just giving an
Oh.
example. So
Okay,
10.
okay,
Okay, so an enter. Whoops, why isn't it doing it?
yeah, it should,
Well, it's not. Oh, yeah, it gave the
Yeah,
adjustment.
yeah.
It's just okay.
okay,
All right. So this GL area is useful because it will add together level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. So if you have a multi-level house, you can see the total amount of above ground square footage. And it's very good to compare that with your comparables. So if you can see, comparable 1 is a little smaller than the subject that way. Comparable 2 is quite a bit smaller. Comparable 3 is almost equal, or comparable 4, I'm sorry, if we slide. And comparable, that one on the left is also quite a bit smaller. So I like to look at that to say which one of these is most similar to my house. I'm going to give that one probably more weight as I'm looking at the value. So let's go to that one that was similar in square footage.
The one that's
That was the
16,
last. Okay.
right there.
So right there, I'm looking at its final value of 638.
Okay.
So that one's a stronger comparable as I look at, I'm going clear from 606 to that 650 or whatever. And I'm saying, well, where does my subject fall in that? Well, I'm going to look at one that has similar, especially gross living area. And then I want to look at the one that has the most similar condition, which would also be that sale. So that's a pretty good sale, even though it's on larger acreage. And then there's one that's right in Kim's neighborhood. I mean, it's like right down the street. It's that burgundy one. It's a little bit smaller, but they've updated it. It sold for the 625. I do like to say, okay, what did it sell for? What is it? It's called net adjusted sales price, which is the 628. So they're pretty close. And so I say, but that's right in her neighborhood. It has similar appeal. So I'm looking at a number probably between 628,000 and 638,000 for what I would want to list that at. So I'd probably list it at the higher price and see how the market reacts to it. Now it's very interesting. Let's look at that sold dollar sold square footage.
Okay.
A lot of agents, what they do is they take their comps and they look at that dollar gross square footage and they average them, and then that's what they multiply their house by, is they add together the total living space, the upstairs and the downstairs, multiply it by the average of that, and that's what it comes out. Well, if this one is, if I did it that way with Kim's, the average price was like $210 a square foot. And if I multiply that, I believe, let's
Okay,
see.
so I got a question
Oh.
here. So it says, I missed how you came up with 10.
Oh, for the amenities. Okay, so in your head, you have to look at the amenities of your house and you say, okay, that has a second kitchen, that's worth $10,000. So that's 10 times 1,000 for my value I put in there for the adjustment.
Yeah.
Kim had a shed, a little tough shed,
So
that
about a one.
maybe just $1,000. It might be, I might give it a 2, so it's worth $2,000.
Okay. Like you just do that, if you're doing
Right.
that. And so, one thing to remember here is probably the most useful thing for me when I look at this training is you're going to be able to come up with these templates, and then it's just putting the information in there. So we
Yeah.
had somebody asked about, well, how do you value a driveway? A driveway doesn't have any real
The
value.
only time you ever value a driveway is if it's heated.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you have this expensive cost to, let me tell you, they're expensive.
Yeah.
And so, yes, you give that some value, but that's about the only time I've ever, sometimes an RV, I do an RV pad though, and I usually give that a $1,000 to $2,000 value depending on where it's at. And I do decks, I do patios, I do energy efficient items like new windows. I mean, I go much further, but you're kind of doing a little more simplified
to come up
value.
with a good value for it.
And so this is a good rule of thumb. You can also look at concessions, which are really changing a lot and can lower the actual net sales price of a house. If you deduct concessions, you can get a 13, man, they're getting big.
Yeah, yeah, no.
And
absolutely.
all of a sudden you take $15,000 off a sales price because of the concessions, you're going to have a very different bottom line there.
So we found is this
But,
is very accurate if you set it up, this way, like Kim was saying earlier, if you set up this template, we'll have the video for it where you can go through and use those numbers. And those numbers do change, but they're not overnight changes. Like I'm still pulling the same comps basically for most things that I was pulling a year ago.
Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, this really isn't comparable. It's just how to apply these more additional adjustments that get you a closer.
Because I hated the CMA before, to be honest. The numbers were always way off. And so my way of pulling comps was do a wide area search and just hit it, and then I would hit some of the, dollar cost averaging on price per square foot, like you talked about.
Right. And you look at this, I mean, our range of values for the dollar cost for sold goes from, I think, 198 or 200 clear up to 220. What was the
So 191 to
so 191
like
to 230. 230 is the
yeah.
high. And so if I times Kim's house by 230, her square footage, all of a sudden I'm like $718,000. Well, that's way off of where my adjusted comps are telling me this house is worth. So if you list it for 718, you're not even going to get anybody looking at it.
Right.
So,
and I was grateful because it came in when, you did mine. It was like right there. It was nice. It's about 100 grand more than I thought. That was always going to,
yeah.
And it came in and I got an offer right away on it because it was, it was right. Eric's got his hand up. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Eric.
So really quickly, for agents that are new in the last year or so to this industry, was it about a year ago, maybe a year and a half, that the MLS got rid of the historic factors? We were all working off of the same factors, and it was just, I don't know, there was one drop down box. You could probably change some things, but nobody did. And all of a sudden the MLS said, hey, it's not our business to tell agents what values are assigned for, above grade or a finished bedroom or bathroom. You guys know this business better than us. So you guys put those numbers in.
They didn't how to do it. Like nobody had any education on how to do it.
We had never been trained in that. And they said, you guys are the neighborhood experts. But honestly, unless you focus just in one neighborhood, you weren't the expert in it. And so all of us were kind of left floundering. Some of us were able to go in and save the historic values before they got erased. But this is where this training is invaluable because they just deleted it. And one of the things about the old way is that at least we were all on the same playing field. We were all using the same numbers. And so there was a sense of uniformity, even though that uniformity was all out of date because they hadn't adjusted those numbers for a long, long time. So this is going to give you a much more accurate measurement to go by. You can go into places, you can have a lot more confidence when you're talking to people, maybe a higher end home because you have the adjusted factors for higher end that she's teaching here. So make sure that you do take the time to do the homework after this meeting. Take this cheat sheet that she's given you, build in these different options so that now when you go out to visit a home, you can go based on condition and you're going to get a much more accurate reading, and you're going to be more confident with your own CMAs. You're going to be more confident in talking to clients. You're going to be more confident when you're a buyer's agent making offers because
people are going to notice that you're more professional, that things are broken down into, with greater specificity. You're going to be able to pull up more business with this versus somebody that just putzes it.
And if you have a low appraisal sometimes and you want to talk with the appraiser about, how their numbers came in, now you're talking more their language, with condition and amenities and stuff, which I think they appreciate too. seeing that
Yeah.
they're talking with somebody that's really made an effort to learn their trade, and you're going to have a better chance to get the value that you're hoping to get. So sorry, that was my side comment, but thank you very much for this training. This has been great.
Yeah. There's a question here and I did want to answer it.
Okay.
And I know this is one I called Kim because I wasn't sure of either. How do you get that dollar sold per square foot? That is the combination of the gross living area, so all the above ground square footage and the below ground. So for Kim's, it was 3,374 square feet is what her total house is up and down. Then they divide the sales price by that square footage to get that for each one of the comparables. But you see, that number does not take into the acreage differences
Right.
or the age differences or the condition differences. It's a very flat number. And you can see that after we have come up with what the computer suggested for her value of her house was 633,000, which is kind of an average of all four of those comparables. That's $188 per square foot, which was lower than all of those other comparables that came in from 200 to 230,000.
Okay. I'm just putting Carrie's number
Oh,
here.
yes.
Also in the email
Yes.
that I sent you, you have got it.
Down in the right-hand corner, I have put my name and my email address. So you can contact me if you need to. I welcome calls. I have had many discussions with many agents who have called, and some of them have said, hey, I've got a house with a built-in basketball court inside the house. How do I value that thing? And so we can have a little discussion of how you come to an adjustment for that. Like I say, Randall has a huge outbuilding. Oh my word.
They used to build RVs in it.
Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, how do I value this?
It's like Eric's sports court.
So yeah. So again, I'm more than happy to have a discussion about that with any of you who would like to call and just pick my brains. I like to talk about this business. So
Let me stop sharing the screen there.
yeah.
Let's go
So
back to-
anyway, let's just go ahead and like save the CMA at this point.
All right.
And then you can see what it looks like in a printed form.
Okay.
So
Sure, again, I can,
we can just call this burgundy or
okay, and I'll just call it, just hit right up here, save residential.
yeah.
Oh,
And
feels okay with searching. Let's call it burgundy. All right. Burgundy,
save.
and then save. Okay.
And then you can do a print, where you go out and see how it looks when it's printed.
Okay. So that's like print PDF.
Yeah.
And so this is what you're looking at. I don't know how to, let's see how to pull that up there, but it looks professional because you're pulling up all of the different.
The differences and what you've adjusted for all those differences. People can really see where you're getting that bottom number. And that's exactly what an appraisal looks like. It's just a little more expanded than that.
Left out.
But my appraisals have a grid just like that.
All right. Well, thank you, Carrie. I sure
Yeah.
appreciate it. And taking us right up to the
Yeah.
hour there. That was it was awesome. I would say if you have any questions, you can always reach out to Carrie. She's very, very approachable. Kim was trying to pull some comparables and called Carrie, and Carrie phoned with her and showed her how to do it. And this will be able to set up your templates so that you can have the templates for good, better, best, or average, a little bit above average and best. And it'll save you a lot of work once you set that template up. Eric is recording the video, and so we've got a video recording of this, so you can actually just go right through the video. Keep this.
Yeah, the sheet. Oh, this.
Keep the sheet.
That's my old one.
Yeah. Keep this sheet. Keep the one that we're using that tells you how to do it and walk right through it. All of you should have a copy of that in your email. I sent one out to everybody this morning. Eric Lee, I think, put it in the chat as well. But being professional is going to help you out, and it's going to help you find new business because you're going to be much more confident and much more competent when it comes to pulling comparables, which is something that's been really hard. In fact, it's hard enough that for about 3 years I hired an appraiser. I don't know if you remember Joe Dunlop, but Joe
Yes, I do
Joe
remember.
worked for me for 3 years.
Actually was a processor for Joe Dunlop when I started.
Nice,
That's
yeah.
before I was actually appraised.
Yeah, so when I started in my business, in real estate, and that Joe worked for me, we gave him an office, and so he did stuff for us, and then we paid him to work, so many hours a day for us every day, and so it was great. So this makes it a lot easier, and then that desk appraisal is really good. Sometimes I've had clients that have been a little bit.
Unrealistic.
Yeah, unrealistic is a good word. I was trying to think of a nice way to say it, but unrealistic. And so, I call Cari up and I tell my clients, I say, hey, I'm going to get an appraisal done on this. I call Cari up, I take pictures of the house, the information, I send over the information to her. And for $75, it's the best money I spend because all of a sudden we come into reality to where, okay, it's not way up here at 850,000. It's more like 750, and we have a part to start at. In fact, I dealt with this with my brother last night, who's got a house that's been on the market for like 6 months and had 8 showings. And I'm saying, it's price. It's the price. It's always the price. It's priced too high. And him and his wife, yeah, but every dollar we take off is, it's costing us right out of our pocket. And I said, let me tell you something. It's always better to lead the market down than it is to follow it. And if you're not getting showings, I've had 4 showings in 6 months, it's too high. It just is. And it's always hard to sell your own family, because you're just, nobody believes you.
What do you know?
Yeah, for my family, I'm just a putz. I'm not a guy that's done 1,000 transactions and 1,000 flips. I'm just a putz that, shows up for Thanksgiving and eats too much turkey, I guess. But, that's it. So I want to thank you, Cari. Thank you so much for coming and explaining this to us. And then, Eric, you'll have that on put up on the YouTube channel, the Lead Agent.
Yeah, so hopefully you've all subscribed to the YouTube channel, Lead Agent Training. That's where we've had all of our required videos to watch for the Utah forms updates. So you should all be familiar with that already because they are required. And I'm super proud of my agents that have gone in and watched those because the way that you're able to negotiate and these changes in the legal landscape that we've experienced this year, it's really fun to see our agents being very well educated, going up against others that aren't, and the distinct advantage that you have over the competition. Today's video we'll be putting in the playlist for daily tips. Okay, there's several different playlists on there. This will be in the daily tips one. And so if you're subscribed there, I think it'll just show up as a new video. But if you don't see it there, go into the daily tips video library. All right.
So thanks for
Thank you, Cari.
recording.
Oh, sorry. I'm like,
Time word.
oh, sorry. I just clicked it there. I was just showing Eric how to get to it, but it's a lead agent training, and then it's got tons of videos in there. Things that are useful, things that are gonna help you in your business. So sorry, Eric, I didn't mean to play you to yourself.
That's fine. All right, I'll stop the recording here now. Thank you.